Is Thealzel, founder and president of eFund and a leadership role with many different organizations. I don't think she sleeps. She's working or at some sort of event. So let's hear your story. How it all began, how your journey's been going for as long as it's been running so far, and how you've been sustaining it.
Thank you, Bhavik, and thank you, everybody, for being here. It's such a thrill to be here and listening to all these inspiring stories. So I am the founder of eFund. It is an angel investment fund. It was founded in 2011. And my story actually spans 3 centuries. So I'm going to be talking about 3 centuries worth of stories to tell you about how I got to where I am here with eFund and all the great people that came along this journey with me. So in the 19th century, when my great-grandparents came to this country, they were working on the railroads, they were working in the factories, they were domestic servants. And when they scraped up enough money, they were able to be small businesses. It wasn't until the 20th centuries when the laws changed in this country, and my father was the first person allowed to go to post-secondary education. He eventually became a prophet at at Queen's University. So what did I do? I decided to follow in my father's footsteps as well. I wanted to become an academic. No, that's not a picture of me, but it could have been me because I was working in a lab and I was working on a technique that was supposed to cure cancer. That was a big deal. It still is a big deal. And that's where I got bitten by the bug that, so to speak, to work in healthcare related industry. So I was really into healthcare. But alas, an academic life was not for me, much to the disappointment of my father and other family members at the time. So Kukai, I can certainly relate to you because I did not become an academic. Instead, I went off to Africa to work with some amazing entrepreneurs. These are women from Malawi. I was posted there in Malawi. I was working for the USAID as well as the UNDP, as well as for the World Food Program in the waning days of the Mozambican Civil War. But what amazed me about these women here, they're Malawian women, was that they were very resilient and they were very enterprising. And the businesses that they began, because their menfolk were all fighting the Civil War, was absolutely amazing. But they were held back by a lot of systemic infrastructure that was not conducive to entrepreneurs, whether you were male or female. So that was discouraging, but I was always in awe of their resilience and their imagination of starting entrepreneurial enterprises. They could be anywhere in the world, and I think they would do really well. So off I went back to First World, this time to Vancouver. I hadn't lived in Vancouver before. I fell in love with Vancouver when I was an academic, and I thought, well, this is the place for me to go be, because it was just starting to get a reputation for its entrepreneurial ecosystem, both for entrepreneurs and for investing. So I thought I would get into this and start helping other entrepreneurs and investors really create a stronger entrepreneurial ecosystem. Then I did a little bit of research. After all, I am an academic at heart. And I find that these statistics, not exactly encouraging, but, persevere. I mean, my great-grandparents, when they came to this country in the 19th century, my parents in the 20th century for their gains. I mean, certainly if they could do it, I could do something in the 21st century. And I came across this quote from Fred Wilson. It takes 7 to 10 years to get to real liquidity in a portfolio of early stage venture investments. You can't shortcut it. It just takes time, but come years 7, 8, 9, and 10, the returns will start coming in. And then what it hit me, not only am I facing high business failure rates for these entrepreneurs, but I'm also looking for a very long-term hold. Okay, so then this is where I had the startings of a new kind of fund, something that was 21st century. And I had two goals. Obviously, the first goal was to have quality investees in our portfolio. And we went about it in a number of ways. We formed this fund where we would build it on three active pillars based on the research. There's active deal screening, thorough due diligence, and post-investment participation. And the research shows that you get a better odds of having successful entrepreneurial enterprises if this is what you practice. So we were really interested in making sure that we had the right crowd of people to help these entrepreneurs. We also were very deliberate in choosing where we want to invest. We were angel funds. So we had a certain sweet spot where we would like to invest in entrepreneurs. Kukai talked about venture capitalists. Venture capitalists are really awesome. They are great when the companies are ready to scale. That's where venture capitalists really shine. When the ideas are just starting to form, you know, we live in a country where there's great infrastructure that support that. But where angels come in is making sure that there's a robust business model. And that's where we fit in. We figured that we would help the entrepreneurs with our domain expertise, get them to accomplish the amazing things that they want to accomplish, and we'd be in it together as a partnership. We even develop formal processes in how to evaluate the entrepreneurial ventures. We have a great ecosystem here. There's a lot of angel group meetings in the area. I manage the Vantech, which has been around for a couple of decades. There's also Angel Forum that's managed by my fellow board director, Peter Dorsman, and his wife, Irene. There's Capital Investment Network on the island. There's the demo days by all the different universities and accelerators. We have a really rich funnel of great entrepreneurial ventures, and we run them through our paces, and eventually we invest. And you know what? We've got some great companies in our portfolio. We made 49 new and follow-on investments into 33 different companies. We've already had 6 exits. Okay, 2 of them were write-offs, but you know, remember those stats on what the business failures can be. But we're actually have now 27 current investments spread over a number of different industry sectors. You note that there's a great deal in health tech, agri-tech, clean tech. I'll tell you, we were social impact investors before social impact became a thing. Our goal number 2, we wanted quality investors who share our values. We wanted a community-based venture fund, angel investment fund. We wanted a culture of people who want to help entrepreneurs and give back to the community. And of course, we are investors. So we're not a philanthropy. We do look at returns. You know, there was a study that I was part of back in 2010 that said that the average angel investor was white, male, and age 52. And I'm proud to say that we're in our 140 plus e-fund investors. We have almost a third who are female and almost a quarter who are not white. So we're working towards diversity. But the thing that we share with all of us is that we do share a sense of community. We're here to make a difference in investing in the entrepreneurs who believe in making these great ventures that will have transformational effect on our society. And it's a culture of us helping each other, helping the entrepreneurs to make good returns. It is an investment fund after all. So like I said, we have over 140 investors in eFund. We've done about 25 investment teams. These are the way eFund works. It's a bottom-up approach. It's not me and my fellow directors coming down and say, I like this venture, make it happen. It's a bubble up in which means that our eFunders go to all these angel investment group meetings. They see entrepreneurs pitch. They decide that a venture is worth the time of their energy and money, and they form teams and they do the due diligence. Then they make a recommendation to the board saying that this company is worth our investment in time and in money. And for that, we have performance fees to reward those eFunders who do take that time. We also have education and learning by participating and investing. We've got networking, demo days, accelerators, pitch events. We're active members of all these logos that you see on this screen. And these are all just some of the many sources of angel deals that we look at eFund. And I'm going to have an ask. We're always looking for volunteers to assist with pre-screening, due diligence, member and community engagement, and marketing communications. It's because eFund is formed with the community in mind, and that's how we'd like to operate. So if you're interested, we're located in the SFU VentureLabs, and please give us a call. Email us. That's our email, and if you want to be part of one of our events, that's how you can find out and sign up.
Well, thank you for that. And so we do have a question here from Connor. Any advice or insights for those moonlighting and scraping together funds to start a venture? And as an investor, is the above situation typically considered too risky?
Well, if you're moonlighting and scraping, keep at it, because eventually it will take over. Here's a 21st century story. My son is an accountant, and he's got a regular day job, but he does moonlight in establishing an e-commerce business. So he's scraping and scrimping on the side. So I think that shows a lot of good traits of an entrepreneur, especially if you persist and you actually turn it into a viable business that will do amazing things.
So same question I asked Kukai as well. With your amazing career to date, where you got to in your journey, if you could talk to your high school self many years ago and say, okay, what's one big piece of advice you'd give yourself from high school to now that you've learned through your journey?
Embrace life. It's going to throw you a lot of curveballs, but it's meant to teach you lessons. I know there's a lot of times where I've sat down many, many times and said, okay, I've learned my lesson. Let's move on. Please, universe, let's move on. But life happens to you for a reason. And I'm a big believer in that.
So as an early investor, when you started doing this, getting involved in investing in companies, when you had your first failure that the project just didn't work out, how did you react? And, what did you take from that? What did you learn from that? Because obviously still doing it, you didn't give up.
I actually did not mind the failures in the investment if they were business failures. Things happen. Customers didn't buy what you thought they were going to buy. The distribution chain didn't work the way you thought it would work. Supply chain problems, all kinds of problems. That doesn't faze me. What does faze me is when there are people problems, when there are conflicts between key members. And it's not something that can be attributed to business. It's just human relations. And that's what gets me.
So moving into that, and yourself, me, and many people on the panel today, we see a lot of companies pitching. And then we have this terminology about a crazy founder who's really great at building a tech, but not very good at running a business, but they don't want to let go of control. How do you sort of persuade them to do that when you're talking to these companies that are looking for, and you've got a crazy founder who's really good at tech, but just not good at business? How do you persuade them to let go of control?
You let the crazy founder be good at what he's good at, and say these are the things that you should do, and because you're awesome at it. These are these that other people can do because they're awesome at it. Together, you'd be more than an awesome team.
Okay. Colin, would you like to chime in? Do you have anything on your end?
I will. More of a comment than anything else. What I love about Thealzel's story, I love Kukai's story, it really embraces the why we wanted to do this event, because we're trying to humanize investors. And a lot of people, whether they're entrepreneurs or the greater population that doesn't really know all this crazy stuff we do, like my dad, who still doesn't understand like what I do. And I guess Kukai, you can definitely relate to that, or most of us here, our parents or friends can relate to that. We see Shark's Tank and Dragon's Den, and most people think, well, that's the way this whole venture capital investor angel thing works. And of course, that is a caricature. It's not real life. So I'm just loving the fact that you're providing a face to this and humanizing this to show that, you are real people, which shouldn't come as a surprise. But I know, a quick story back in 2015 with our first startup, when we got some traction in the States, and we went down to Seattle and got introduced to a VC there. And we were just freaked out. We didn't know what to expect. And once they started having a conversation, and it was just relaxed rather than 20 people at some big Sand Hill Road, boardroom table, it just relaxed us, and it made it that much easier just to have a conversation. So I'm thanking the both of you, and also the three to come, that you are humanizing the investor experience. And most of you have been entrepreneurs too, almost all of you, if not all of you. So you've been on the other side of the table. So there's certainly empathy that goes along with the curiosity and the tenacity and the resilience and all those other great character traits that you have. So for me, it's more just a thank you for sharing your story, Thealzel. I have not heard your backstory, and I've known you for, almost five years now. So it was a pleasure to hear that.
It was great being here. Thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely, our pleasure.